Welcome back to another Boniface Rides XL185 Build series video. This is episode 3 of the series and it's time to get the bike rolling, do some finishing touches, get ready for the motor and do some little upgrades. Since last episode, I've put on the registration plate that is required for this bike to be registered on Australian roads. I've got new bars. They are Renthal Trials bars. I like the bend on them, and they have a smaller bar pad with a red Renthal bar pad. I've got bar ends. I've cleaned up all the bolts for the engine and the mounts. I've also upgraded the shock bolts, which are here, to titanium Allen bolts, and they'll just have a countersunk alloy red anodized head as well. Start off the video, I'm going to be cleaning up this brake arm and also upgrading the tip to a flick back tip with more bite to the boot. So I'll be cutting that and making that work in the right place for my repositioned foot pegs. I'll also be making a new brake stay arm out of a piece of aluminium instead of the steel. It's a little bit lighter and it gives it more of a factory look. So I'll be drilling holes all throughout this, and I've just put my brake stay arm off the bike on top and traced it, and I'll be making that up as well. I've also got a set of States MX rims that are black alloy. I'm very keen to fit these up, they're a really nice rim. I've also got some Mitas MC23s to fit to the bike. Got a 120/90/18 for the rear and a 90/90/21 for the front. These are a good tyre for a bit of road riding as well as dirt riding. They're really good for both, so they won't wear out super quickly and they won't be dodgy on the road, but they'll still get some decent traction in the dirt. The biggest setback for getting the episodes out as quickly as I'd like is waiting on the spokes. I've now been waiting over 3 months for the spokes to come. Hopefully they're here by the end of this episode so I can get them in and ready to go. I've got everything else ready, and then once that finally happens, then the bike will be rolling and I can continue on with fitting everything else, which will be very exciting. Almost forgot to, I've got my Service elbow headlight. I think this suits the bike a lot better and brings it into the 80s out of the 70s with the original headlight. I wasn't a fan of that. I'm also waiting on Preston Petty fenders, front and rear, so it'll add more of a vintage kind of look over the original guards. They're quite gross. They come out like really flat, where the Preston Petty is like that old school MX style. So my plan is to cut off the existing pedal and then make it work so it returns to somewhat level with the bike for the brake pedal, and the arm on this is actually bigger, so I might have to bring the level straight line back through and notch back up without making it too weak. Also on the underside of this brake arm, it has a little notch as well that I'll have to get rid of, because on the brake arm that it came with, it actually has a notch that allows for that as well, so it can be adjusted back and forth to suit how long your foot is. So I'll be adjusting it to where I want it in the right position and then drilling out the actual brake arm itself and tapping a thread into it. Okay, so I now have the brake lever, partly grinded back, and I've fitted it to the bike, and it looks like I do need to bring it back just a little bit. So I'll be notching this out here and kind of bringing it back on a taper to make it look like I haven't modified it. And then I'll be also cutting off the tab on the underside here. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. With it sitting there, I was thinking about tapering this back up, but it kind of sits quite flat with this top face. So there we go. Now I'm ready to drill out the hole for the brake tip and tap a thread. It's coming up really good. I'm stoked. I've now marked out the hole that I need to drill with a permanent marker. I will center punch that and then drill it out to the correct size and tap the thread. So you have to make sure that you tap the right thread and have the right size bolt or screw diameter. So this bolt that I'm putting in is a 6mm bolt metric with a 1mm pitch thread. So now I've got my tap and die set up. Just want to make sure that you oil the hole as you tap the thread too. And just keep winding in and out in increments. So that's how it looks on the bike. It's going to be sick when it's painted and ready to go. Definitely a good upgrade, especially for that flick back tip, so you don't break your brake lever off on a rock. Also better grip for your foot, and it just looks better. Makes the bike look a bit more upmarket, which is what I'm going for. Okay, next is to make the brake stay arm. As I said earlier, I got the existing brake stay arm and traced it onto a piece of flat alloy. This will be quite strong in tension, but it's only quite thin, so if I have trouble with it flexing, I'll just get another piece welded on the back to strengthen it. Okay, so I've now got the template cut. Now it's time to set out some holes through the center and drill them out, just for a nicer look. And then I'll sand the whole thing back as well to give it more of a rough look, and wait until the bike is together so I can bend this in the right way so it clears the rear tire, and then clear coat it possibly, just so it doesn't corrode. So that's it drilled. I'll give it a sand and see how it comes up. So there we go, that's how it's come up. It's actually come up pretty good, I'm pretty happy with it. Just got to see how it lasts, if it's rigid enough. So that was the stock one, and that's the made up one. That's it. So that's how it's going to sit on the bike too. Back to the brake hub, back here. So, looks very white with that light on it, but it looks really nice. It's just a nice extra little touch. Okay, so now that I'm still waiting for spokes, I may as well put the backing plates back together with new SBS brake shoes. These are a lot better compound brake shoe, so they bite a lot more. They're a really nice shoe. Every single bike with brake drums, I put SBS shoes on. So yeah, they get a lot more bite and they don't wear as quickly. I'm also upgrading the brake arms to Honda TLR brake arms, so they've got a longer pull and they're lighter and they look a bit nicer. I've also put Allen bolts in the back, so they're easier to get in and out without stripping the bolt. And the rear is also longer as well. So that means when you apply brake pressure, it's putting more leverage on the actual brake shoes as they open up, and you get more bite from your brakes. So this is a really good upgrade. So everything's cleaned up and painted and ready to go. I'll be greasing everything that requires grease and installing everything. Okay, so that's both the backing plates done with new shoes. Now it's time to move on to wheel bearings. I've got a new set of front and rear wheel bearings, as well as seals. So let's get into it. Now that's the brake drums ready to go. Okay, I may as well put some controls on as well. So I'm upgrading the throttle tube to a Domino Trials throttle. This is a faster pull throttle, so you get more response. And it's just a nicer throttle. It's a lighter pull, and they've always been good. I'm also putting on S3 Trials grips. They're a bit slimmer, so you have a bit better feel for the bike. It's always a go-to for me. Okay, so something that my dad taught me to is to turn the actual throttle housing down and out of the way. This routes the cable along the bottom of the handlebars and keeps it out of the way. When it's up here like this, it gets caught on trees and things, and if you come off the bike, it's quite easy to break these, so it's always nice to have them turned down and underneath. I also use brake cleaner or carby cleaner to put on the grips. So I just spray some inside the grip like that, and it slips straight on, and then this dries out, so it makes it really easy and it holds well. And then I also put on grip wire as well. There's my States MX bar ends, the S3 grips, the Domino throttle all ready to go. I like the look of grey grips, but I went for the black because they stay clean. After the first ride with grey grips, they just go dirty straight away. So we'll see how these hold up. So I now have the foot pegs back on. The brake lever is painted and installed. I also cleaned up the rear brake arm. It's come up very clean, as well as the spring. I've got tank rubbers on, rubber grommets for the side panel. I've also installed the chain tensioner that was all cleaned up, and it was modified as well to fit a different type of chain block slider, which is a bit nicer. Really stoked on how this pedal came out. It looks like an aftermarket part. You can't actually buy aftermarket rear brake pedals for an XL185, but this has come out unreal. It's perfect. So another week has gone by since I started this video and I'm still waiting for spokes. It has been such a long wait, but I am also waiting on other parts from the Netherlands and Japan. So hopefully the spokes are here by next episode. I can get the bike rolling and start getting into the nitty-gritty and all the exciting parts. But I'm really stoked on how this thing's coming up. It's looking like a brand new bike. So thanks for watching and see you guys in the next exciting episode.